So I knew that that was out there for sure. It wasn't until later on in a bit of trauma that I eventually had come on to actually become what you might say is fully red pill aware. I was always kind of a cynic when it came to listening to mainstream media and things like that, Joe. So I always questioned everything. So I think it's very helpful if you have a questioning nature, not a negative nature, but just a questioning nature, you know, trust but verify sort of nature.
Mm-hmm.
That you tend to look at red pill things and realize you go to verify them and it's true. Um, so yeah, ended up reading Rollo's book in December of 2013, and it was an amazing revelation because what it showed me was actual how male and female intersexual dynamics work, and it also clarified some stuff on intersexual competition that our women face with each other, which I knew was always out there, but I didn't know to what degree. Uh, Kind of a short story of my red pilling, having felt it. And of course, you know, when I was single, I dated as much as possible. There was no shortage back in the day when we were dating. It wasn't monogamous as it is today or serial monogamy. When you were
Mm-hmm.
dating, it was well understood. Also, on the woman's side, you were dating other people to find compatibility. That was the purpose. At least that was my experience in the 80s and the
Mm-hmm.
90s. Today, it seems somewhat different. I have my son is 35 and my brother's 34, both of whom are single and dating. And that does not seem to be the perception of dating for the females today. It's we're on 2 dates, we're now exclusive
Right.
until a time we're not. I don't know where that came from, honestly. I haven't really thought about it a lot, but it is a little different approach. I've had a couple conversations with them on that. Is that something you've observed?
Yeah, I think, and if it isn't implied, it's definitely like it comes up, it's asked about pretty quickly. Like after a few dates,
Mhm.
you start getting these, well, where's this going questions, or oh, you see in other people thing. And we talked about this too, and that's why I think in the beginning, when you're dating, it's important. You don't have to like on the first date have a direct conversation about, hey, look, this is how this is going to go. I'm dating, I'm having fun, non-exclusively, casual dating. But at some point, very early on, and it can be brought up subtly, like passed through, but still made known. And typically it's going to come up like, so what's your dating situation or how you doing in the market, girls will bring this stuff up subtly, and ask, what your position is, your status. And that's a great opportunity to be perfectly honest and open up front to alleviate any type of, misguiding or, you know, uh, her assuming that you're with her to be with her exclusively. You have a great opportunity right then to say, look, I'm dating, I'm having fun, it's casual, non-exclusive. And then that's out the way. Now that's out in the open, it's known,
Oh, I
and
completely agree with that. I advise some young men, including my brothers, on that very fact that, but there's some hesitancy to do that. Like, oh, well, she won't be interested if she thinks, there's for some reason it's in the guys, but I think they would be better off if they do exactly what you said, and that's to be very upfront, very quickly.
well, because that dating, non-exclusively casual, plate spinning, whatever you want to call it, that's
Mhm.
frowned upon, and that's like demonized in society.
Socially, right? Hmm.
So yeah, of course you're going to be reluctant to just, especially in the beginning, because you don't. And most oftentimes, these women are asking with the same thing in mind, and they just ask, it's almost a little bit of a test because they're not going to come out right and say, "Hey, look." And this goes back somewhat to the anti-slut defense, or
Yeah,
like, "Hey, I'm dating and having fun with a bunch of guys." You know, they already thinking that. They just want to. They
yeah.
testing you to see how you're going to come up. Like if you say,
Oh, yeah,
"No, I'm looking for a relationship," boom, it's done.
yeah,
And
yeah,
most oftentimes, you just honest and say, "Hey, look, I'm having a good time dating."
yeah.
And but you can always say, and this is if you feel that way, if the right thing happens to come along, you know, and we hitting it off, I'm definitely open to seeing something more exclusive.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I
that's a
think a
very
lot of
good
times it's
point.
just them testing you to see, like, do I have to worry about this guy getting clingy or stalkerish, or can this guy handle his shit? Is he going to be honest with me? Because a lot of times, and you talking about being socially calibrated, these women already know, like they know shit, and they're going to ask you questions just to see if you're going to be honest and congruent with what you're presenting, and if you're going to be truthful about what it is they already know.
Oh, that's a for sure. They're very perceptive. Now, on the majority of young men and men out there in the dating environment right now, I actually, when I've counseled some of my apprentices, they're actually very fearful of rejection. They don't even get to the spot
Mm-hmm.
to where they even have the opportunity to be honest and say non-exclusive. They would just love to be able to get past that phone number and not creep them out via text, right?
Right.
Uh, so that seems to be the majority right now that I've counseled amongst men. Some of them are some are natural and can talk with the ladies, but yeah, definitely there's an issue out there with rejection for sure. I like to always say, like, it's better to live with rejection than to live with regret, because you'll never
Mm-hmm.
know. At least you know with one, right?
Well, I mean, that's just a testament to, you know, how today's society is brought up. Like at the mere, at the least hint of failure or rejection, people shut down. Like they're afraid to fail. They're afraid to be rejected. Like it's just some awful thing. And so they'd rather avoid the pain of rejection by not even trying, or,
Right.
and they have this mentality set up that they're going to fail already, or they already rejected. And it's like a defense mechanism to avoid them having to go through the pain of rejection. And I think, and this is what I see too with a lot of my guys is, you know, I tell them, you're going to be rejected more than you're fucking taking it. That's just a fact. But the accepting the rejection for what it is, and it could be, and if you're just brutally honest with yourself and say, hey, I fucked up here, or I didn't do this right. And I think the rejection, especially in the beginning, is a blessing. You know, off the bat, there's something that wasn't done right. So, but the first lesson about rejection is don't take it so personal to where it cripples you from recognizing what it is that need to be fixed. Don't take it so personal to where it just cripples you and paralyzes you from taking any further action. But, and you know, today's society, this whole sixth place trophy mentality where everybody's as good as, that's not the truth. And it's only serving to really cripple our society as a whole, especially the men. You know, we're supposed to be able to take rejection. We're the ones that, if you've fucked up on a job or something, and the boss says not supposed to come up to you with this, you know, let's have this talk, and I want you to feel good about it. No, you're a man. You're supposed to be able to hear it directly. Like, dude, you fucked up. You know, I can't have that. I got to fire you. You know, you got to be able to hear that shit and be able to see it for what it is. Like, okay, I fucked up in any situation. And that's just a, you know, a small example about being
No.
fired, but
Actually, you touch on the biggest part of becoming red pill aware that I can think of. And what it actually involves is you becoming your own mental point of origin, as Rollo Tomasi says.
mm-hmm,
It is the fact that when you are taking this rejection, it's so personally that you don't try, you've missed that lesson, because truly the biggest benefit of becoming red pill aware is to set it in your mind that you are your own mental point of origin. Therefore, you must become a better version of yourself every day. And in my mind, the best way to achieve it is to make small actions every day. And over time, they create massive results. And that's where the real magic pill of the red pill awareness comes in, where it really broadens your horizons and you start living the dream. Truly.
yeah. And part of that, becoming that, is being able to take responsibility and accountability for all of your shit,
All of it.
good, bad, and indifferent, everything in
And
between.
yep, and the ugly, because we all
Yeah.
got it.
So, because think about it. if you just going through life doing the shit that comes really easy and avoiding that rejection or that pain of rejection, and some of this rejection comes in forms of learning certain truths, like when you become red pill and you start really understanding, like, holy shit, I had that wrong all along, like, and avoiding that, like, if you think there's nothing to improve, then what do you actually have to work on, and what are you going to work on? Absolutely nothing, right? You're going to stay stagnant in that spot. And I mean, there's a way to go about life and live like that. I mean, you just surround yourself with people who you perceive as you're better than. Like, you never do something that you know you're going to challenge beyond your capabilities right then. You just keep yourself in this little mediocre circle, this little bubble, this little safe space where you're never challenged, you never faced with rejection, you know, and you do everything really good and you're above the people you're around. But yeah, you know, that goes nowhere. It's not until you step out and start accepting the, you know, I hate to call it even painful, because having a realization about yourself being limited in one area doesn't have to be painful.
No,
It can just
it's a
be,
good thing because
yes.
now you recognize it. And when one door closes, others open. Walk
Mm-hmm.
through it.
So going back to reading The Rational Male, and I know I've been through this, and I've recently talked to a younger guy who's read it, and he's pretty pissed off. He's pretty angry, like, and I'm smiling because I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean, dude. I've been there. And
mm-hmm.
so how did you deal with that? I mean, it's inevitable. If you read that book and you really accept these truths and you really open your fucking eyes and see that, yes, this stuff is true. Yes, women are like this. Yes, that's just the way it is. Yes, we were lied to. This is not how I'm supposed to act. You're going to be angry. You're going to feel
That's a good
slighted.
question. I responded a little differently because I was definitely angry, but the anger was at myself because I got a bit of an ego. I think I'm smart enough. I should have recognized that all along.
Yeah.
So I took that anger and turned it into motivation, motivation to improve and every part of my life. You know, improve something incrementally. It doesn't matter. Just make that action. Take that action. Do the work. So, and that lasted a good year, but
Yeah.
I didn't take the anger to where I'm angry and I just got to get through it because, you know, it's kind of like grieving. You know, I accepted it very, very quickly and turned it into like, okay, dumbass, you should have paid attention this long ago. We're here now. Get up and go. You're still breathing. Dust off. Pick it up. Let's go and start this fight all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I kind of took it as, yeah, I was more angry with myself, I got to say, because it's at the very first, I was pissed off with women. I was pissed off at society. Like, I had this chip on my shoulder.
And you can. I'm not discounting those guys. I mean, there is reasons for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get past it and you really want to grow from that experience and use this information to better yourself and better your life and better your relationships and better everything, at some point, and this goes back to taking responsibility. Like, okay, yeah, that happened, but what benefit does it do me to carry that forward? Like this chip on my shoulder, it does no good. So why don't I take what I've learned, accept the fact that, okay, yeah, I was duped. You know, they told me sugar, spice, everything nice about women. And, you know, I've done this wrong for X amount of years. And then immediately you start thinking back on all of these opportunities that were blown with women. Like, oh God, I can't believe I did that. And then it's okay. Yeah, you did it. You know, fine, get over it. Now you have a whole new set of tools and a whole new mindset to move forward with to succeed and level up and get past and never make those mistakes again. And I tell these, especially the younger guys, like, I think when you're ready and you've reached that point, and I think this happens to a lot of men, to where you don't find the rational male because your life is going exceptionally well. Everything's going good for you. And you say, oh, let me pick up this book. No, you come across a rational male because you had your fucking heart ripped out of your chest, or an ugly divorce, and you're living in a fucking roach motel and you can't see your kids. You know, there's usually some circumstance like that that leads to this space,
I have a
right or
different
wrong.
theory about that. I don't think that you find the rational male or the red pill. I think it finds you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you're ready, the teacher appears, right?
Right. And then, so you reach that point and you're ready to learn. Like, you just, please fucking tell me what it is I need to know. So you're in a little better mindset to overcome some anger shit. But
Yeah.
then I explain to these guys, like, look, and I even tell them beforehand, like, here's what's going to happen. You're going to fucking read this book. You're going to be blown away. You know, you're going to be a little upset. You're going to get depressed to an extent. And then there's going to be a point where you get angry. But here's the thing, staying stuck in that anger phase, that makes or breaks the life experience from that point on. And we know in that anger phase is where MGTOWs are born. These hardcore motherfuckers that swear off women and, you know, just check out of the game. And it's when you are in, it's that phase, that anger phase is when that happens. That determines that's the fork in the road right there.
It is.
And if you can just move past it, and I tell them, look, there's no getting around it. You're going to go through it. Now, how long you stay in it and what you do as you're coming out of it, if you go this way or this way, if you go MGTOW, or you decide to just, okay, I'm going to use this to my benefit and level up in life and become a better man.
Well, I can see how guys get sucked into that. You know, I mean,
Sure.
there's certain things that I can control and certain things I can't. And the things I can't control, I work around. So I can see the allure, right?
Well, that's a
But
great mindset to have. But I
it
mean, think
is,
about the men
but
that want
it
to
can be
blame
perverted.
everything.
It can be perverted into an ego protection too.
Yeah.
Things that you actually really can control. Okay, I'll use the example with my guys of looks and money. You can always make money. And looks, I mean, even if you're born with a crossed eye, right? You can get it fixed. You can fix your teeth. You know, you can dye your fucking beard. You can do a lot. I know guys that have given up on life and they think they can never get any anymore. Ding dong. You can build this. I mean, you could do what you need to do. The question is, am I going to complain about it? Woe is me. This is my lot in life. And have that release of complaining about it to other people like a bunch of old hens, or I'm going to be that cock and run around the damn chicken yard, right? And announce how cool I am and good I am, at least mentally. I'm going to take that action. It's not easy. And there's an allure, you know, there's an easiness allure to just sitting around bitching. Sometimes it's fun too. I mean, I got sucked into bitching here and there, haven't we all? Because sometimes it's just fun to sit there and vent. Well, guess what? Venting's a woman's activity and it's draining.
Yeah.
It'll drain your energy you need to work out, energy you need to improve yourself.
Well, I also believe that there's a time and a place for that. Like, you with the fellas and y'all just fucking, I'd rather go over the little shit, you know,
Sure.
nitpick a little bit. And if you go overboard, you're with a group of guys, a good group of guys that you trust, and they're going to tell you, all right, you're starting to sound like a bitch. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That come on. We got to have some shit talking here, right?
Yeah, right. So, but like, I'd rather do that and keep the weight and be clear-headed and able, be in a place mentally to handle the big shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'd rather drop the baggage of the little shit by, you know, doing some sarcastic complaining with the right group of people. Like, I don't think you should go to your woman and dump your baggage onto her.
No.
I think that's a no. That's non-negotiable. You can't do that.
Yeah. No.
But in the right group, like, you can fucking say a little bit of shit if you want. I mean, and as long as you're not internalizing this negativity and the complaining where it becomes like a way of life, a constant.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of a habit. And I always say, hey, Joe, don't sweat the petty stuff. Just pet the sweaty stuff.
There you go. Words to live by. And the right group of people aren't going to let you get away with that for too long.
Right.
Like, Ask me how I know, because I've done it. And people are like, all right, dude, shut the fuck up. Enough of that. And then
No, there's a lot of guys haven't heard it though, and they need to, and that's what this is
mm-hmm,
all about. We're inviting them to join us on this journey.
mm-hmm. And with that being said, back to the anger thing. You guys listening, if you hang in there, it subsides. You're not angry. One day there's gonna come a day where it's less and less and less. There's gonna come a day when you're not angry anymore, and you actually learn to appreciate and you become grateful for having this information bestowed upon you. Then you start realizing its true potential and power, and how you can use it moving forward to level up. Then you just see it as for what it is. Just like when you walk out the door and it's 90 degrees outside and you start sweating. You're sweating because it's hot. The grass is growing and it's green because it's grass, and the sun shines because it's the sun, and the dogs bark because they're dogs. Women are women because they're women. Women do shit that they do because they're women. And that's just it. And you learn to just accept. And you use that as, okay, this is how it is. All right, so now I have a better idea of what I have to do to navigate this, to improve my life, to level up, to whatever. Then it's just good information at that point. It's no longer a bitter resentment or, an angry thought. It's just truth now. It's a fact. It's just one of those things. That's when it starts getting much easier.
It does. It actually does. You put in the work, and it starts becoming, I'll say, second nature, and
Yeah.
thereby
Mm-hmm.
life starts to work on easy mode, or
Yeah.
so appears to. You still got to do the work, but you get used to it.
Yeah. And then you notice, like, when the hard times come up or something, it's not like, oh, I got to do this, and then you get all, it's like, okay, here's what we got now. Let me see what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, 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 bam. And then you're doing it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, I can't articulate it as well as I'd like to. And I don't know if anybody can put it into words that great. I'd like to see the guys out there listening, or guys out there going through this shit. I'd rather you just experience it, and you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when you get there. So if you're in that spot, keep going. And stay off the black pill channels.
I agree.
So anyhow, you read The Rational Male. Shit got better. And do you ever take time to revisit that book?
I have several times. I have the entire series on audio as well, and at least a couple times a year I'll listen to it, since I still drive to work, and review it. It's a good read. Um, there are parts that are a bit dry, but if you're interested in the material, you always pick something up. Every time I listen, I pick something up I didn't hear before.
Mm,
So I do revisit it, absolutely. And it led me to eventually, I saw Rich Cooper, I think when he first started with Entrepreneurs in Cars. I saw him with his cars before the men's stuff, and I saw it change into the men's stuff, and I'd pick up a guy here or a guy there. MGTOW stuff was coming on strong. There was a few of them that talked about divorcing and the divorce machine, which was all true.
mm-hmm,
It was all real. And then eventually I picked up Donovan on when he started his radio show. I think it was Blog Talk Radio. He was doing something. I'm not sure, but picked up a few of his channels, and fed myself with some content there, and then kind of just lived my life. And one day I came across, I want to say I came across a 21 convention video right before the Redman group, and then I saw the Redman group, and I was a regular watcher of that.
mm,
And of course, when it went to Rule Zero, I followed that as well. And then I got invited to listen to John by some of the members, and I enjoyed that. He's got a lot of good Red Pill content there, even though he's a dating channel. It's much broader than that. So that's kind of been my source of Red Pill content. And then, believe it or not, everything I read and watch now, I'm seeing it through the lens. And I have a pretty good conversation with my wife of 27 years. She's seeing when we're watching some of these TV shows or just a clipping of New Channel. There's a lot of this conditioning out there that's blue pill, very strongly so, and it's kind of fun. I mean, you can see content everywhere if you look now.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you? You still revisit them?
I peek. I do
Yep.
peek. I've been meaning to go back through.
Hmm.
I'm super fucking busy lately.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can
And
get
I
it on
think it'd just,
audio and pick it up here and there, that's a good way.
I have this Audible subscription and I have 3 credits right now. So I could buy all 3 books.
You could, and you know, if you do, I like listening to Roll. I mean, very technical type stuff, you know, and very well thought out. I'll pick up his channel
Hmm.
while I'm doing something and listen to his monologues. That guy really thinks it through way more than I ever would. So I'll do that as well here and there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I definitely, I watch him. Sometimes I watch Rule Zero. Uh, I haven't been on like I said, dude, I've been busy lately trying to put this thing together, my own thing,
Hmm.
and a lot of stuff in between. But if I can't catch it live, I'll go back and rewatch while I'm doing something in the background. And matter of fact, on Jonathan's channel is where you and I met. That's where,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I was Q4 last year, right? Jumped in
Hmm.
there. It took me a solid week or so to even realize that there was the webinars, and I was working, of course, so I missed some, but it was really good. And then I was really surprised. There's another content creator out there I'll occasionally listen to. Surprisingly, he comes from the PUA side, and that's Troy Francis. The guy's got really solid red pill game.
Oh yeah.
He puts a lot of philosophy into his techniques, which it shows how thoughtful he actually is. I think he's a little bit of an older guy too. You know, he might be 40. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I watch his clips.
Yeah.
And this guy's got skin in the game. He's the real deal.
Hmm.
He's not
Oh
just some
yeah.
theory guy. He's going to,
No.
the shit he's telling you is the shit he's done. And
Mhm.
that's what I like, authenticity. Now, I don't want to hear about, you know, send this text to get
No.
her attention. And no, I want to hear some fucking deep, raw shit. Like, I want to hear about your experience, and not because, you know, anybody has to vet themselves or like I'm vetting these people or anything, just because that's what I appreciate, that experience. And I love a good story of a guy who's had to learn and overcome and remold and reshape and redo his thinking. Like that shit fascinates me. And Troy Francis is one of these guys. And let me tell
Well,
you,
you can learn a lot from that.
yeah, that's where you learn the
Absolutely.
most from, right?
You do. No, I
And
remember. I remember when we met. The first thing I noticed about you is, I mean, I think you're an older guy. Are you 40? Are you 40 yet?
43.
43. Okay. For 43 years old, the first thing I noticed is you are not fat. You are in great shape. So
Mm,
I felt a bit of a kinship right there because I really take a lot of care to try to keep that going at my age of 57. So I appreciated that. You know, I could see that you had achieved some knowledge and had put that, and that showed that you were definitely making yourself your own mental point of origin. So that's one of the first things I noticed.
yeah. And you too. Like they said, this dude's a 57. I was like, holy shit, fucking jacked, ripped. You know, I've seen, and some of my motivation is not just to take care of myself and have a quality of life and longevity, keeping my sexy going.
Mhm.
That's important. But I've worked in an environment where people just let themselves go.
And
You
they
have,
wear out hard. Yeah.
yeah, you see these 40-year-old guys on diabetes medication and like just fat and unhealthy overall. Like they have no strength, no wind. Like I want my dick to get hard when I'm 70 something years old. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I want to be able to go on a fucking hike if I go on a vacation when I'm 60 something. Like I want longevity. I want a quality of life. If I'm going to be alive in this fucking planet, I want to enjoy it. I want to have fun and I want to look good doing it.
Hell yes. And still be functional. No shit. I mean, absolutely. Who wants to be in an older age and be that guy that's out in the middle of the ocean adrift with no oars, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
what happens if you let yourself go at any age. Or who wants to be that guy that's out in that cigarette boat doing 100 miles an hour? Now,
This
if I got to
guy.
drop a few years at the end to crash that boat into the rocks, so be it. I'm going to
So
do
fucking
it.
be it. That's right. I don't want to be laying in my bed with a fucking ventilator at 68 because I didn't take good care of myself, wishing I would have fucking.
Oh, it's worse than that. You'll have that and a catheter and the whole goddamn thing. I'm not doing that.
Hey, man, look, I don't know what people have against catheters, but if I could use one, if I could change it daily, I'd do it. I was in the
I
hospital
know.
for 2 months with my foot. This was years ago. The best part is I never had to get up to piss.
Well, that's
So,
true. It's not that part. It's changing them. That's the part.
yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I was on one for quite some time when the burns. So
Well, yeah. You know what? I never did hear that full story. Do we have time here?
let's touch on that one again. I actually can, if you're interested, I take about 40 minutes. I could go through. I have some motivational pictures. I can actually show you where the graphs occurred and what happened. So let's maybe save that for another one. How about that?
Absolutely. I definitely want to circle back to that at some point.
Okay, we can do that.
Well, what do you say? Let's wrap this up then for the day.
All righty,
And
let's do it. I'll
go
go
ahead.
first. Yeah, if anybody wants to find me, I'm at RedpillThor. I do take on a few folks for mentorship, coaching through a red pill lens, be it fitness or personal life issues. I have some experience, and if I can't guide you, I direct you to the people that can. Thank you.
And me, you can find me at proudmasculine.com if you're interested in one-on-one coaching. You can follow me on Instagram at proudmasculine. And so, all right, good shit, man. And we'll see y'all
Thank
on
you.
the next one.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.